Deaf people communicate using sign language, which incorporates hand gestures and facial expressions. Unfortunately, most people outside the deaf community have little knowledge of sign language. As such, an interpreter is needed for everything from education to medical, legal, and even social events. This has both a financial and organizational cost for a deaf person that may prove to be a barrier to entry, especially for social events.
One example of a difficult situation is a meeting. Imagine a group of students needed to call a group meeting at short notice. This is a common situation, but such last-minute arrangements leave very little time for a deaf student to organise an interpreter. There are a number of factors that make lip reading difficult, which are exacerbated when there are multiple people involved in the conversation. Things like group members having side conversations, speakers turning their head mid-sentence, or someone speaking outside the gaze of a deaf person can all limit the student's ability to rely on lip reading. It is also impractical for casual or last-minute meetings, and these issues can be really frustrating for deaf people.
We want to bridge this gap with our project, a prototype application that acts as an interpreter between sign language users and non-users. It is our hope that this application will allow deaf and non-deaf people to communicate in their native languages in a manner that is easy and productive. We are in the early stages of this project. For now, our prototype's gesture recognition uses machine learning techniques on the data produced by the skeletal tracking feature of the Kinect. The position of the arms and hands is sent to the server application, which analyzes the data and determines what words were signed. On the other side, spoken sentences are recognized and sent as text to the server application, which decides which gestures the avatar should sign. The deaf person sees the avatar much like a real-life interpreter.
Hello. How are you? What's the time?
Hello. Great.
When I first saw the project, I thought, wow, absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to be a great benefit for myself, for students, just for everyday life as well. So I think it's a really, really good idea. I think it will help create more smoother communication for everyone as well.
When I first found out about the system, I was so happy because people are finally putting deaf people as a priority.
I think for the future, it's going to be really, really great for deaf people. In their jobs, at home with their families, there's lots of different barriers for the deaf community where they cannot access the non-deaf community, and bringing those two communities together through the use of a system like this, I think it will be really great. And even simple things like creating small plans, simple plans, being able to make a quick call or have a quick chat, I think that's going to be a big advantage.
With this project and what it can help me to do, it's going to be amazing.
Myself, I'm studying law at the moment, and communicating with other people is extremely important, and I use interpreters quite a lot, but that has to be planned in advance, and if something comes up at the last minute, having the use of this technology just to sort out something that will take 5 minutes that I don't need to bring an interpreter the whole way in, I think that'll be a big advantage. Here in Ireland, the deaf community have their own language, and it's separate from English and spoken language, and it's separate from Irish spoken language as well. So it's called ISL, that's Irish Sign Language. Then that would be my first language. I grew up using that, it's my mother tongue, I've used it every day. I would have learned English as a writing language in school, but my home language, my first language, and my everyday language is Irish Sign Language, and it's extremely important to have access to that. Because we are all part of the same world, so to be able to communicate and live and work and socialise in the same world without those language barriers would be fantastic.
This Skype for Good programme is excellent, I'm very happy it's going forward. I hope it will progress, and I can only imagine the potential we have in a year.